Last team to hit on here, Shane, Vanderbilt and ETSU. The Clark Lee era starts this weekend in Nashville. And again, a lot of the same situations that we just said at South Carolina. I think obviously at Vanderbilt, they're not going to pull the trigger. You could have made the case maybe Derek Mason, could have been fired a year or two earlier than he was. So they'll give you patience. There's not necessarily pressure on Clark Lee to come out here and be gangbusters week one. But, I think fans they're going to be demanding improvement. And when you got a starting quarterback, they just named Ken Seals the starting quarterback. You got a really nice piece there. Mike Wright, the backup, maybe one of your best players. When you got two outstanding quarterbacks, the offense has got to be efficient. And that's one thing that I'm going to have my eye on this weekend. What about you?
Yeah. I don't know. I want to see. I think out of all the programs, for some reason, I've just got this imagination that Coach Lee's going to be more fundamental. That there's not going to be mistakes, because it felt like last year we had a young program. They made a lot of mistakes. They're never all out there at the same time. Well, they didn't have that experience in the offseason. They were all together. And I don't know. I just expect efficiency when it comes with Vanderbilt this week.
All right, so let's kick it over to his comments here on Ken Seals being the starting quarterback and the fact that they plan to use Mike Wright moving forward.
Clark, have you named the starting quarterback yet?
We've decided to name Ken Seals the starting quarterback for week one here. Both Ken and Mike had great camps, and we're proud of both those guys. Felt like it was important for our team heading into game one that we had some clarity in that position, and we were allowing for those guys to establish roles for themselves, to build chemistry within the offense. So we've been practicing that way for the last couple weeks, but both quarterbacks will play. Mike Wright is one of our best 11 on offense. He is a super talented person and a super talented player, and we're anxious to see what kind of role he can carve out for us on offense as a playmaker and a guy that can be a game changer for us.
On Mike, and without giving away all your plans for opponents here in this season, but what kinds? Obviously, last year you had sort of that red zone role. I mean, do you anticipate an expansion beyond that potentially this year for him?
Yeah, I mean, Mike has earned the right to play snaps not relegated to a zone or a situation. I mean, we want to see him get out there and lead the offense. We think he's earned that right and shown capability at times in practice to function as a one, and that's why the competition took its course. So, we're planning on him to have a role. Obviously, certainly that can be situation based, but we don't want to just relegate him to that. We want to make sure we give him ample opportunity to get out there and to execute on a drive and to see how he can ignite explosive play for us on offense. So we'll get him out there early in the game Saturday, and we'll see kind of how things take shape around him. And then as we go through the season, based on how the offense develops and how he develops in that role, we'll look to expand that to make sure we're putting ourselves in a winning position.
Yeah, Clark, this is obviously your first game as a head coach. It's different preparing as the head guy than as a coordinator or a position coach. So when you go about your week of preparation and all the things that go with that, where do you get your inspiration for how to go about things, to game plan, to the flow of the week, everything? Do you call Brian Kelly? Do you talk to Tim Corbin? Do you just absorb some things that you've gone through before and take those into your own style? But as you put together a plan for how to get into a routine and all, how did you go about that?
It's all of the above. I mean, I've had a lot of great coaches that I've learned from head coaches that I work for. Obviously, Brian Kelly is certainly one of those. Dave Clawson, John Stiglmeyer at South Dakota State. There's a lot of guys. Scott Schaefer. I've had a lot of great conversations over the course of preparing for fall camp. And, we're just looking to kind of build this together too, meaning our staff gets together and talks about what the team need is and how we fill that need. Obviously, there's some intuition involved with that as well. Every team is different. And so the formula that works at, a certain program doesn't necessarily work for this 2021 Vanderbilt football team. And so it's a combination, but I am definitely pulling from all the learning I've had over my career. And and also relying on instinct and kind of the pulse of the team too.
Efficiency. That's not sexy, is it? No, they ain't gonna like that. But I'll tell you what, I could go for some efficiency right now. I don't want mistakes.
Right.
And I think that's what Vanderbilt got in trouble with so many times last year is they would have 3 good plays and then they had one that would just set them back. And then next thing you know, they're punting and they can't catch up. So just efficiency. Nothing wrong with that.
Right, and I also think that this is the perfect opponent for Vanderbilt to open. I don't know who in the hell set this schedule where we got to go to Colorado State next week, and then we get Stanford the following week before getting into the SEC grind. I mean, Vanderbilt, you got to know where you're at as a program. Give me 4 ETSUs if they'll give them to me, and that's your ticket to making a bowl right now if you're Clark Lee. So we may not have, quite as easy as a schedule as we want, but you got to take advantage of this while you're getting it. I know there's going to be week 1 issues to resolve around, but like I said, this hell, you could throw a couple pick sixes and you still should beat ETSU. So there's a lot of margin for error in this first game, but they've got to pick it up quick because next week going on the road to a Colorado State that you're probably more talented than, that it gets tricky real quick.
Yeah, it does.
All right, Shane. So, hey, that's all we got on this episode.